Welcome to Dad Talk Podcast. This is our new YouTube channel. We're trying something new. You could find us on Facebook Live, Instagram, and then also streaming live on anchor.fm. So sit back and relax, whether you're listening in your car or watching while you're at home or in the office. Welcome to Dad Talk Podcast. Enjoy. Next subject matter is I can relate. You know, I think a lot of us live our lives where we feel, man, I'm going through it. Like no one else has ever had that experience. But you got to understand, you know, that there are people that are your age, younger, older than you, that have gone through a lot of stuff. And where you feel that, you know, the world has turned their back on you or the world can't understand what you are going through, believe it or not, there's more people that are going through the same thing as you're going through. There are more people just figuring out a way how to cope, how to live, how to, you know, just exist through all of these things that they happen to go through. So when it comes down to it, I can relate. I can relate to so many different, you know, things. And I think the most current thing that I can relate to and talk about is just not having, my brother here. And just thinking about, like, I never ever thought that I would get to that point one day, in my young mind and thinking that I would have to say, bye to my brother so soon. I thought that we would, grow old together, talk about what happened back in the day and things that we had gone through, in different instances that we had, you know, all of those different things, I thought that, hey, he'd be around um, long enough so we could look back on it, have our kids be friends and our kids, do things together, you know, um, as a family unit, but we never got that chance to get that far into life. So, such as me going through having a loss of a grandmother, a loss of a cousin, a loss of a mother, a loss of a brother. There are so many other people that are out here that have gone through those same exact things. Now, we may cope differently, where with one loss or one thing that has happened in your life, it may take you to something else. It may take you to a point where you may start drinking. It may take you to a point where you may start doing drugs. It may take you to a point where you are depressed. It may take you to a point where you get closer to your higher power. It may take you to a point where I always like to say this: repurpose the hurt. So the things that have hurt you, things that the loss that you feel, that at some point you can take that loss and turn it into something good. So with me saying that, I can relate to all of those things. We can relate to disloyalty, someone that you thought was going to have your back, but when the chips were down, you found out exactly who was there for you and who wasn't there for you. Who's going to take that ride with you or who just let you take that ride all by yourself. You know, those are things that I can definitely relate to, you know, when it comes to money, when it comes to a situation where you may have done something for someone and they didn't pay you back, or that they took something from you and they did not, do what they said that they were going to do for you, you know, or that you give, and then is never reciprocated. You just feel like, damn, I don't even really want to help nobody else out because of what this person did to me, this person, that person, you know, love, right? So we talk about love. You know, our first loves that we have in our life is our mother's love that we can remember. You know, for a lot of us, is our mother's love, it's our family's love, is, you know, for some of us that are fortunate uh, to have your father as a role model in your life, that love, your siblings, you know, loving you and you loving them. Um, and just that ride or die type of love, you know. Then you have that extended love that you experience. You know, they had a song a while ago, well, a long time ago before I was born, but it was like everybody plays a fool sometime, right? So I figured that listening to that song, this guy took a chance, right? He jumped out there and he said, okay. And you know how we are as men, is that vulnerability is not a spot that we want to catch ourselves in, you know. So he was vulnerable. He said, okay, cool. I'm gonna let it all out. I'm gonna go holler at this woman and I'm just gonna show her that, hey, I wanna be with her, the whole nine. And he got caught out there. So when he got caught out there, I think in that song about everyone plays a fool sometime, is that basically at that time in his life, boom, he played a fool, he got played. And then, you know, from that point on, maybe he kept searching for love, or then he was like, nah, I'm just gonna shut my heart off. I'm not even gonna look for it no more. I'm not gonna go through it at all. For those who are parents, baby mama drama, right? You know what time it is. Having baby mama drama, you know, whether it's something that you created in a sense where, you know, you may not have lived up to what she wanted you to be in life with her, or you were just like oil and water, that y'all just never got on the same page, y'all never really mixed, you know, because oil and water don't mix. So you had that issue where also the issue of parenting, or even learning how to parent, and especially from a man's standpoint, if you were never taught from a man, or even a married man or someone that was able to keep their family together, and you was never taught how to keep your family together, how to uh, act other than just, okay, I'm gonna supply this, supply that, but really be able to be the number one in that relationship, and kind of hold it down between you, your kid's mom, and the whole relationship, and your kids. So if you never even had that background, or even was taught how to, you know, hey, how you doing, Janice? How to be that way, then it was a struggle, you know. So that's always an issue that a lot of us have ran through, you know, is that we didn't have someone there to say, hey, this is what you're supposed to do. You know, we just went out there and we did what we thought that was right, or we kind of try to pattern a little bit of it after somebody that we may have saw or whatever. But in a nutshell, a lot of times we just ran into that oil and water situation where any and everything that we tried to do, it wasn't good enough, you know. Or here's the other side to it, where you have someone that's just used to living that way. She's used to, okay, I'm gonna have a kid and this dude gotta go. So maybe if it was even your first kid or your second kid, she's still acting a monkey and acting crazy, and you like, man, I'm just trying to be here and do what's right by my kid. And a lot of us can relate to not having that, and wondering, how would that feel to have, you know, if you looked at yourself as a kid and said, Dag, if I had both parents in the house, if I had that father figure, whatever, be like, man. So you envision that, and then you try for your first time. You say, you know what? I'm gonna try this daddy thing out, and I'm gonna see how it goes. But then you're fighting that uphill battle, because it seems like everything that you do, She seems to have a handbook or a manual over here telling you that nah, that ain't right. So you busy like, well, let me see the doggone manual then. You keep telling me what's wrong. uh, let me see the manual since you got all the bright ideas, but at the whole time you're getting forced out, getting pushed out, right? So we all can relate to that. We can relate to being the best that we can or being the worst that we can, and understanding the consequences that come in a relationship when when you look back, you say, damn, how serious was this person about this relationship? How serious was she about me being the dad and being there for my kids? We can relate to, and I know a lot of y'all that are watching can relate to profiling, you know, where you just out and about, you doing your thing, and you get pulled over. So I definitely can say that we can all relate to that. Where I don't know how many times I done been pulled over. I done lost count. You know how many times that these crazy type charges are put on you. Where it's like, okay, your tail light out. Like, man, the brand new car ain't no tail light out. Oh, now it's broken. Or you know getting a gun pulled on you, getting pulled out the car, getting beat, actually getting robbed, you know getting your money taken away from you, or even at best getting your license taken away from you and say, oh, you driving on no license, trumped up stuff. So I'm sure that we all can relate to that. We all can relate to, like, oh man, they about to pull me over, I don't know, everything good, so why in the world are they stressing? you know but something that we can all relate to, relating to walking into a store sometimes and feeling not wanted, and you about to spend your hard-earned money to patronize this development, and they act like they can't give you the best customer service since you are spending your money, or they looking at you like, oh yeah, what you about to do, you about to steal something, you know feeling that, going to different areas, you know, throughout your life where you may not have noticed it before, but then sometimes where you go somewhere, you like, oh man, you look around and it's like, I'm the only one here, and it's like, it's half and half. Sometimes you get that reception where no one really cares. No one's tripping about who you are, right? Then you get that reception where you walk in and it's like, oh man, I'm in the wrong place. I'm in the wrong area. And they looking at you like, what you doing here? You know? So we all have had those experiences. What about near death experiences? You know, where you a robbery happens, you getting robbed, somebody pulling a gun out on you, you know, you at gunpoint, and it's like one or two things can happen. You get away scot free, or it can go wrong, you know. They could actually shoot you, you know, or the third, you fight for your life, um, and those things are relatable because we know of some folks that we know personally that have actually gone through that, that have actually survived it, and some that have not survived it, you know. So God rest their soul. Um, illnesses, you know, cancer is real big. And, it has taken a lot of folks that I know, personally, in my family, you know. Um, it leaves you to question, like, man, what is it? Is it in the food? Is it in the water? Is it, like, wow, you know, what is it that is causing this disease that is taking folks out, you know, left and right, young and old, So we all can relate to something like that because it's touched us in some fashion, directly or indirectly. We have um, suffered from, you know, the results of it, and we have folks that are dealing with it, and you know, fighting, against it. So we all can relate. Um, was very relatable that I know a lot of folks go through is just being left alone, you know, where it's a situation where you thought you had a friend over here, you thought this was your homeboy, you thought that was your homegirl, but when it all falls down, where are they? You know, where are they now? When you thought that okay, I can depend on this person, and it's like, wow, maybe we had gotten to the point where we put too much on that person and said, okay, yeah, they gonna be ready to ride, or we misjudged who they were to us in our lives. Some people are around just like that song Friends. Some people are just around for the good times. Some friends are just around for the money that you can give them, the loyalty that you can give them, but they won't give back. Some friends are just, okay, and they treat you real cool, but some mistake your kindness for being a fool. We like to be with some because they're funny. Others come around because they need some money. Some we grew up with around the way, and we still real close to this very day. Homeboys through the summer with the spring and fall. And some friends, damn, I wish I never knew them at all. But this story goes on again and again. But these are the people that we call friends. Hey, I had to take it back, Joe. Had to take it back. But that's something that we all can relate to, you know. And for the females, and it's all in the same line as with that song in the next bar, you know. They say you and your girlfriend was so tight. You took her out with you and your guy one night. What they say, you shared mostly everything that you own, but what she do? She turned around, she shook your hand, she stole your man. It was done so sweet, it had to be a plan. Couldn't trust her with fleas, let alone your keys. With friends like that, you don't need enemies. You wonder how long it was all going on, and you're still not sure you're glad he's gone. They said, well, if she took him, he was never mine. But deep inside your heart, you knew it was just another lie. So now you feel cold to some people that you meet because of something that was done to you by some freak. But nevertheless, I'll say it again, that these are the people that we call friends. So that friendship thing, we can relate to all of those things. We can relate to all of those things that come up. And one thing about, like, now I was talking to my son about uh this generation versus the last generations or a couple of generations before. At first, we pride ourselves on being the no snitch generation, right? Like, nah, no snitching, no snitching. Then it turned out that you thought that your man was cool and you thought your man was going to hold it down, but he snitched, you know? Or you had a situation where you had somebody else holding the bag, and that person that was holding the bag, left holding the bag, wasn't trustworthy, wasn't strong enough or built for it, because they didn't figure, okay, I'm just gonna take this and roll with it. Nah, they weren't built for what you thought they were built for. So you took all your trust and you threw it over into that person's lap. You may even took your trust and disloyalty and threw it over into his lap because you were trying to wipe your hands of the situation and was like, nah, that's gonna be all on him. And I'm gonna be mad at him when he just don't take all of this stuff. So how does that work? If you dump all this stuff on this person and then expect for him or he or she not to carry that weight is yours too, right? So why would you take your weight, throw it on him, and then say, okay, oh, you wrong, you snitch, but yet you threw everything into that person's lap and couldn't hold your own water. So these are things that we can relate to. Folks being shady, folks doing those type of things. But what I was talking to my son about is that there's a whole different vibe now as far as how social media is and how things are done. Like nowadays, it's appealing where you can probably, well, I wouldn't say probably, but definitely go on social media and create this whole different persona of yourself, right? Be somebody totally different, and you'll have thousands of people buying into the fake, right? They'll buy into it and they're like, oh man, you know, that's easy. But back in the day, you couldn't do that. You couldn't say, oh, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, and not live it and not be, on that path 100%, or not live by your word or stand for something. People understood that if you stood for something, you just stood on that ground. You stood for something. You knew, oh, I can't play with him like that because he not going that way. You know, he ain't with the BS. I can't approach Shorty like that because she ain't going for it. They were, you just that one way, you stuck to it. So this is prior to social media. Now that social media is so big, you can be whoever you want to be. You can fake it, what they say, fake it until you make it, right? You can, nowadays, I was looking at this app, the Wish app, right? I was just scrolling down through it, right? And I noticed that a lot of them youngers be like this, holding the money up to their ear, you know, just showing all their money, right? But on the Wish app, you can buy. Matter of fact, you ain't even gotta buy it. It's free. They give you like 3 stacks of fake money. The joint look real. It do look real, but it's fake money. They give you stacks of fake money. All you got to do is pay for the shipping and handling. So I was thinking, I was like, wow. So you don't know nowadays what's real and what's fake. Is because if you can actually buy blocks of fake money, you show it look just like real money. How many of these folks are actually really doing it or faking it? And you found out a lot of folks that are out there really faking, acting like, okay, they got this, they got that, or they're being something that they're not. So I was telling my son, I said, look, you guys just do it totally different nowadays. Y'all gonna go balls of the walls, do whatever, and not even understand that there's some consequences behind it, And this is actually showing other little kids, oh, this is something to do. We should do this or whatever, which is not the right thing to do. Is setting a terrible, uh, you know, role model or example for them. But we've seen this before. I can relate. I've seen folks go out there and portray something different, and then they get caught up, and then they sing it. Because I don't know, was it a show to begin with? Were you just playing all the while? Or when it caught up with you, you just wasn't strong enough to take that case? Just, you know, so it's almost like, why get into it if you're not factoring in all of those possibilities? That, hey, what if this thing goes south? What is my plan A, plan B, plan C? You know, uh, am I going to stay solid or am I going to fold? So I was just saying that, basically the differences between what they do now and what we have saw growing up and what we did coming up. That is a total difference, but you could capitalize off of the social media aspect of it, being you, staying true to you. But if you want to clown and you want to do something different, I guess that'll work too. Um, so back to the subject matter. It's about being able to relate. Being able to relate brings some form of commonality for all of us. And I said before, we've lost people in our lives. We've dealt with different things in our lives, whether It might have been, oh, I lost a place, I got evicted, I was broke, didn't have no money, didn't have no food. Um, Folks that I thought they were gonna be there for me turned their back on me. I'm sure we all have been able to relate to something like that or have gone through it. So um, that's that. And this month has been kind of like a crazy month and a surreal month for me, even though it's been 4 years, almost 4 years, almost 4 years. I blink and it's about 4 years since my brother passed away. Um, so his birthday was Sunday, and then coming up Thanksgiving, death anniversary. But I don't even really want to think about like a death anniversary. Um, I still hold him here and think about what we uh, should have been doing right now, in life. But I carry on for him. I do what I do for him, and I try to make sure that I make an impact um, for him, because that's what he does. That's what he used to do. If you know me, I'm not all about a lot of talking. So this right here is the last, what, 4 years, I guess, has been an emergence of me talking. You know, so people saying, "Dang!" I remember my man Sean's sister, Michelle, rest her soul. She used to call me Motor Mouth. She said, "Yeah, when you was younger, you was la 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 la." She's like, "Yeah, you were Motor Mouth," but then it came a time in life where, I just kind of, I guess, just eased up and slowed down a little bit and just used more of these and these than this. Where it was a time where it was time and a place for everything. So going through different situations in life, you kind of have to adjust. You can't be, um, you have to kind of manage certain things in your life. So is a time to talk, is a time to listen, is a time to just look into, um, you know, just scope out the whole situation. So there's a time and a place for everything. Um, but yeah, you know, so I just think back, you know, on those things, and I know a lot of us are going through it, where it's like making that adjustment in life where you no longer have your mother, you no longer have your brother, you no longer have, different family members in your life. You don't have them no more. So now you have to make that adjustment. You know, as you get older, yeah, all your circumstances start to change. Whether it's financially, whether it's socially, physically, mentally, definitely mentally, because a lot of folks are still dealing with some things mentally uh, that can really be um, hard on your mind. I think more of the mental stuff that you deal with is harder than a lot of the physical stuff that you have to deal with, because it plays over and over and over in your mind. And, it's not like your mind is playing tricks on you, but the gravity and the weight of what you have to go through, it will drain your body, drain your mind, put a lot of stress on you. So I'm sure everyone can relate to those situations of um, being depressed, um, having, just issues in life that you're faced with, and trying to make the best out of those situations. I didn't want to make this podcast, you know, gloomy or, you know, reflective, but also I like to say that anytime that you bring a story, you write a story, you present something, you always have to do it in this factor. You present the problem, right? And then somewhere towards the end, you give something for someone to go home with or a solution, you know. So I always say that do not allow for a loss to be just a loss. Anything that's tragic in your life, anything that you go through, don't allow it just to stay there. You know, there's always going to be a lesson, you know, there's going to be a testimony after you get through it. But then also you have to look at the purpose of it and then gradually, because some things are harder than others, gradually repurpose the hurt for something better, you know. So it wasn't like your folks passed and they said, okay, it's okay for you to live the rest of your life in mourning. It's okay for you to just be down and out forever. Yeah, there's going to be a time that you are going to be hurt. There's going to be a time that you, you know, everything that you can think of, you're going to feel it. You know, there's going to be a time that you're going to feel it, and it will seem like it's going to never get better is because how great of a loss you took, you know. So losing a parent, losing a loved one, you can sometimes, you can't get over it, but no one wants you to get over it. Just wants you to now take that same energy that you feel in the hurt and now repurpose it to something greater. You know, for someone that did not know your father, right? I'm speaking to one of my authors, Carla. One way to repurpose that is that if they didn't know him, they're gonna know him just by meeting you. You know, all of the wonderful things that he has done for you to raise you, and to, you know, take care of you, then someone out here in the world will know about him. So your that memory of your loved one will live on because you have now said, okay, it's my life's duty to make sure that folks, if they didn't know him, now they're gonna know him. You know, they're gonna know the goodness of him because of me. You know, it's going to come through me and you're going to find out like, wow. And then it becomes your purpose. And people say, well, why you do what you do? Well, here's my purpose. This is the reason that I do what I do. You know, is because that person that used to be here can't. They can't do it anymore. So now I've picked up the baton and I'm going. I'm running. You know, I'm that anchor leg. I'm bringing it on in. So what they had started in life and what they may not have finished in life, now I have become a representation of what it looks like when I am showing that I honor, you know, my loved ones. Or I am now a representative in life to show you that this is what the second time around looks like. Yes, okay, this what happened to me, but check me out now. I'm coming back better, you know. So I can represent it in such a light that is no longer something that's going to make me feel depressed or hold me down, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to make sure that it's the light that you all see when you see me. When I reflect on it, yes, we're human. We all will get down uh, a lot of times when we reflect on the loss of a loved one. But then get up, do something, show the world that this is in dedication of that one. Like I started my business back in 2012, like a year shy after I finished writing my first book in 2009, 10, 11, and start putting my stuff out there. But I started my business and then I started my foundation and then I started all these other uh, arms to the business and all of these other things that I've been going after in dedication of my loved ones who are not here. And then also deep down inside saying, okay, there's more to life than this. There's something else that I want to do in life. So I said, I'm going to go after it. You should always tell yourself that anything that you want to do, you can do it. You can do it. You just got to put your mind to it and get to it. Nowadays, with the invention of the internet, you can do damn near anything that you want. It's all there for you. You can do it. So told myself, look, anything that I think about that I want to do, I'm going to do it. So I put it down on paper and then I pursue it. I have a mobile printing service that we're putting together. So I'm putting together a business plan to make it an even larger, um, you know, uh, business. So anything that you want to do, you can do it. So never say never and never say, okay, man, I can't do it because of XYZ. Throw them excuses out, throw them out. Just because you have or you feel, oh man, I'm not qualified for it, go after it. You'll surprise yourself, So definitely go after it and keep pushing. So that is all that I have to say for tonight's show about I can relate. So anything that we have actually gone through in life, I'm sure there's a lot of other people that have gone through the same thing. The only difference is what was their answer to getting out of that mess. Everyone has an answer to their own story. You know, you may look at it and say, man, I'm going through this. And then somebody has gone through the same thing, come over and tell you, look, this is what I did to get up out of that. You know, I just changed the way that I thought and I got out of it. Or I did this, and this, and I got out of it. Or I took a different perspective in the way that I thought, because we can imprison ourselves, we can hurt ourselves, we can stop ourselves, we can do so many things with this mind right here, you know, to keep us from doing it. But then we can do the opposite, where we can expand our mind, we can go above and beyond anyone else's thought for us, where they may thought, okay, you can only do this. We can go further, because the mind is that way, as long as you feed your mind with information, man, it'll do some amazing things. And then the confidence that you have within yourself, you'll get folks to look at you and say, man, I want to know what you know. And I want to buy into what you're doing. And you'll still get folks that'll say, nah, you can't do it. You got to have that even killed. You got to have folks that's going to tell you that you're no good. You got to have folks that's going to tell you that you can't do it. But that should be motivation. They're going to always be out there. But at the end of the day, when you go home, or you have to look at yourself in the mirror, you got to ask yourself, did I give it my all? You know, um, did I leave no stone unturned? You know, did I do that? Did I give it my all? Then you can answer yourself, yeah, I did. And even if you fail, as long as you gave it your all, then that's what matters, because that's a learning experience. You failed one time, you'll be able to get back up and do it again, and then avoid that same, pothole that you fell into the first time, you know, because now you have learned the lay of the land, and you know when to jump, when you need to jump, you know, and you know when to take a couple steps back when you need to. But it's all relative. If we all follow that type of thinking, if we all follow that type of thinking, then we can kind of dig ourselves up out of anything that we're going through. You know, the big thing um, that happened last year, or what is being uh, um, concentrated on nowadays, is mental health. We all go through it. We got our highs and we got our lows. I'm just like you. I have some good days, I have some bad days. I have some days that I question myself and be like, man, days I question God, like, was good, why? you know um Days that I'm confirmed, I understand what's going on, and I'm solid on what's going on, and I don't have any questions. So we all go through those different emotions. um but the one thing that, out of all of that, the one thing that you should never ever do is give up on yourself. I don't care if the doubt is coming from yourself, the doubt is coming from here to there, it doesn't matter. You always have to be your biggest cheerleader. You know, you always have to be your biggest cheerleader and the one that's going to push you when no one else is pushing you. Because remember, it'll happen where you look around and you like, hey, where everybody go? And at the end of the day, you're the only one that have to kind of push yourself, you know, and make yourself go. So you have to know that when it comes down to it, dig deep inside and make sure that you're ready, to suit up for the game and ready to go hard. So whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you want out here, understand this. It's gonna be some tough times. It ain't gonna be pretty all the time. And with how social media is, they doll it all up. They make it look like it's good. They make it look like they balling over there. But remember, I told you a little secret. They got that fake money. You can buy stacks of fake money online. Just pay the shipping, and you can be balling too, walking around with the joint. But at the end of the day, is what you pour into yourself is once you build yourself up in that manner, you can pour that out into the world. You can pour that into someone else that needs that information or needs that um, inspiration. But we all go through it. So that's the part where the reason why I came up with the title for tonight is that I can relate. Because I don't think there's anything that I've ever heard, seen, done in life that would surprise me, or, there's a lot of things in life, but I can relate to it and I could be of some type of counsel because I survived it. I was able to get through it. So I can, you know, be a person that I say everyone has their gift. Everyone has their story, and within their story, they can relate to someone else, and someone can relate to them. And in closing, that problem and then that solution, everyone has that. They have that issue that they're dealing with. Then they have that solution because not everyone is down here. They are making their steps and their strides to overcome so many different mountains in life that just that one example of overcoming a struggle, someone else can learn from. So again, thank you guys for joining, and check out our YouTube video on the Dad Talk podcast. That's our new channel.